It is Sunday, the 29th of July, 2018. I'm in front of the Unitarian Church of Montréal, just starting up my alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and various other Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy. And it seems to be a pretty quiet Sunday morning here at the Unitarian Church of Montreal. I haven't seen anyone show up. There's no bikes in the bike rack, so I'm expecting a pretty low turnout today. I almost didn't come. I actually considered taking a little break. I wasn't here last Sunday for that matter, but I didn't have a whole lot else to do this morning, so I figured I might as well at least protest, for a little bit, maybe an hour or so. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to continue our protest. So there's somebody heading into the church now. They cross the street and going straight in. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, there they for a second I thought the door was locked or something. Anyway, they just gave me a little wave before going in. So anyhow, we'll just circulate here as we do. Put down a few chalk slogans. Pretty straightforward. Unitarian clergy abuse sucks. And you can read as much into that as you want or not. But there's a reason why I use the word sucks, and that's because some Unitarian Universalists, some of whom I'm quite certain are clergy, thought it'd be a really good idea to start a blog called the Rob and Edgar Sucks blog a while back. And of course the intention of the blog was to do everything they could to discredit me and discredit my protest against Unitarian clergy abuse and so on. So if Unitarian clergy can say I suck, I think I can say that clergy abuse, which is an act, not a person, most certainly does suck. And so that's today's short but not so sweet slogan. Yeah, I have a pretty good idea that at least two fairly well-known Unitarian Universalist ministers were part of the so-called collective authorship of the Rob and Edgar Sucks blog. And there have been a few comments on it from other Unitarian Universalist ministers. So even if Unitarian Universalist clergy are not responsible for creating the Rob and Edgar Sucks blog, others have certainly commented on it, and in a way that basically again tries to discredit me and so on. So unfortunately everything that I'm saying about the Unitarian Universalist church is supported by plenty of evidence. There's nothing I'm saying that cannot be corroborated, which is one of the reasons I have yet to be sued or otherwise prosecuted for alleged libel or blasphemous libel by any Unitarian Universalist. They can threaten to sue me with libel or have me charged with the criminal act of blasphemous libel for blogging about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers. But when challenged to bring their accusations to court, they balk. And the reason they balk is because they know perfectly well what I'm saying is very truthful and, as I said, supported by plenty of evidence. So they can't really accuse me of libel or indeed blasphemous libel with any credibility at all. They're basically just lying through their teeth, bluffing essentially, in legal bullying that was intended to intimidate me into deleting blog posts and so on. And yet, when I say, okay, let's go to court, let's go to trial on this, you know, they basically don't proceed any further than their ridiculous cease and desist demand letters. So yeah, just one example of the various ways in which Unitarian Universalists try to cover up and deny clergy abuse, which does indeed include a certain amount of pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, some of whom have been charged, tried, and convicted of pedophilia or rape. So, so that's that. I was actually very careful to only blog about cases where people had been charged, tried, and convicted of pedophilia or rape, because I was trying to avoid any accusations of libel. You know, I basically didn't want to put out other information. Good day, bonjour. So I didn't want to put out information that is probably just as reliable but not corroborated by court documents and newspaper reports and so on. So I just limited myself to blogging about a few cases where Unitarian Universalists were charged, tried, and convicted of either pedophilia, i.e. sexual molestation of children, prepubescent children that is, or rape, including rape of teenage Tibetan refugees by Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell. And it's one case at least, the combination of pedophilia and rape. So unfortunately for the Unitarian Universalist Church, all of their false accusations of slander and libel and even blasphemous libel, which essentially means committing blasphemy against the Unitarian Universalist Church, are false and demonstrably false. And if it ever does go to court of law, will be shown to be false. But I don't think Unitarians want to go to court, because then even more information will come out, and that information will be in the form of sworn testimony by certain witnesses, which I'm pretty sure the Unitarian Universalist Church would prefer not to be known. And of course, court records are public or available to the public. You know, sometimes you have to spend some dollars to get those court records. But, you know, the whole point, though, is that if you go to a court of law and you have a trial, everything's recorded. And you can get transcripts of everything that's said. You can get audio recordings and so on.
Okay. I'm a liberal, man.
I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal too.
You?
Yeah.
So when you say sucks, you justice. I say
it's a perversion of justice. Sucks.
Perversion of justice. Church that spit in God's eyes.
Yeah.
What church spit in God's eyes?
Well, this one right here did.
They spit in God's eyes?
Figuratively speaking, yes.
Yeah, they're full of
Yeah, I use that term too, yeah.
They're full of church? No. What is it? You have that camera on there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
So, fellow started off by saying he was a liberal, and I'm a liberal, very much a liberal, in the dictionary sense of the word. Liberal has gotten a bit of bad name these recent years, mainly as a result of hardcore conservatives disparaging the excesses of people who call themselves liberals. But a lot of people who call themselves liberals, including a lot of Unitarian Universalists who call themselves liberals, are nothing of this sort. They are basically pseudo-liberals, fake liberals, essentially hypocrites, you know. The whole point of liberalism is promoting a very high degree of freedom. But the Unitarian Universalists who call themselves liberals misuse blasphemy law to hide pedophilia and rape, and they engage in quite a high degree of censorship and suppression of my writings and communications about clergy abuse within the Unitarian Universalist Church and other problems within the Unitarian Universalist Church. Very, very high degree of censorship committed by so-called liberal and progressive Unitarian Universalists. Well, unfortunately, censorship is not a liberal value by any means. It's just not. You know, a true liberal believes in a very high level of freedom of speech and various other freedoms. That's why the root of liberal is basically liberty. Libre. Vive le Québec libre. Yeah, see, libre, liberty, freedom. That's what liberal means. Unfortunately, a whole lot of fake liberal Unitarian Universalists are guilty of suppressing freedom of speech and other civil liberties, including the right to engage in peaceful public protest, which is, of course, a form of expression, protected by the Constitution, I might add. So yes, Unitarian Universalists here in Canada, at the Unitarian Church of Montréal specifically, and also Unitarian Universalists from the United States, headquarters of the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, have on various occasions behaved in a manner that is the complete antithesis of the word liberal. Basically doing their best to suppress freedom of speech, and by suppressing freedom of speech, hiding the truth about Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and various other injustices and abuses committed by Unitarian Universalists. Indeed, some of the suppression of freedom of speech, particularly the misuse of the SPVM police force in efforts to shut down my protest, and the misuse of the criminal justice system to try to shut down my protest. These are injustices in and of themselves. Indeed, they're perversion of justice. That's why I have that picket sign that says Unitarian Universalist perversion of justice sucks you, asterisk you. So, as we came full circle on the little encounter there, we got a few people showing up. Not that many, a half a dozen or so at most that I've seen going in so far. Let's make sure this camera is still recording. Oh yeah, see the battery's flashing that it's almost done. It was at around 50% power when I started, so I knew I'd have to change it sooner rather than later. I almost changed it on the spot, but decided to start the video with the half depleted battery. But Yeah, this sign right here speaks about how the Unitarian Universalist Association, i.e. the UUA, attempted to misuse Canada's blasphemy law in clergy abuse cover-up legal bullying that sought to conceal what the Unitarian Universalist Association's Canadian attorney described as such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, such as Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell, to name but one of them. So,
what are you opposed to, guys?
clergy abuse and other issues.
Sucks you.
Sucks.
What does that mean?
Well, U asterisk U is the acronym for Unitarian Universalism.
Yeah.
You can also see it as an ass. So,
Mind if I take your picture?
sure, be my guest. Yeah, you can post it to Facebook or Twitter or whatever you want.
What about with our boy?
If you want.
Thanks. We're just
We don't need to.
interested. Thank you.
You're welcome, yeah. Have a good Sunday. Yeah, bye-bye. See you later. So, a member of the public wanted to know what my protest was about. I'm glad to see that was recorded. But yeah, we're going to have to... okay, he's going into the church. Okay, that's interesting. Or his wife is, anyway. So, oh yeah, he is. So that's interesting. So some newcomers, people I haven't seen before, going into the Unitarian Church of Montreal, possibly for the first time. They might have come at other occasions where I didn't see them. You know, asking what my protest is about. It's called a free and responsible search for truth and meaning of what my protest is about. That's living up to the fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism. Oh, I got some more newcomers coming here. And yes, we're still recording. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up, pop a fresh battery in, because this can die on me at any time. Oh, I see the overheating signal here. That's it for now. Sunday the 29th of July, 2018.